get you a light.
That's actually a reminder. I have to go put the bag in the shed.
Gotcha.
How you doing?
Just give me 2 seconds.
All right, I think you're ready right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. There's some seats. There's some seats over here. Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. This meeting is being held in conformance with the Open Publics Meeting Act. Notice has been given to the newspapers of record, posted in the municipal building, filed with the township clerk. The next open public meeting of this township council will be held on Thursday, March 6th. Welcome to the workshop meeting for Aberdeen Township, February 20th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Councilman Cannon.
Here.
Councilman Hirsch.
Here.
Councilwoman Kelly.
Here.
Councilman Martucci.
Excuse?
Councilman Swindell.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Montone. Here. Mayor Tagliarini.
Yes, here, thank you very much. Tonight's one of those special nights that I've been talking about for a long time. There's, we're here tonight, we'll be saying goodbye to someone and then saying hello to two brand-new officers. So without any further delay, I'm going to ask the Deputy Mayor to read a proclamation.
No, hold on. Let me start.
You want to do first?
Please go first, yeah.
Oh, Mike, okay, so we'll swear in.
If Chief Lloyd, you want to come forward, please? Mayor and council members, if you'd like to go down
Down into the well.
to this side of the well, please.
Good evening, welcome. There are 2 days, at least in my humble opinion, of what is the most important day of a police officer's career. One being the day that you're sworn in, and God willing, the second time is when you get the opportunity to retire. So on February 1st of 2025, Officer Jeffrey Griffith successfully completed 26 years of dedicated service to the residents of Aberdeen Township. Not only did he do that, but he also served in the United States Navy as well. So on January 31st of this year, we held a walkout ceremony, which is symbolic for us in the law enforcement profession. So I just wanted to take a moment to read the speech that I gave that day. There was some audio difficulties that day. So good evening. It is an honor and a bittersweet moment to stand here before you today as we send off one of our finest officers, Patrolman Jeffrey Griffith, Badge 64. In our line of work, we often talk of bravery, sacrifice, and commitment to community. And for 26 years, Jeff has embodied each of those values. He has been a protector, a leader, and most importantly, a friend. It's not just the uniform or the badge that makes a police officer. It's the person wearing it. Jeff has shown us what it means to be a person of integrity, empathy, and resilience. Whether it's mentoring a young officer, volunteering in the community, or just being a colleague needing a helping hand, Jeff has been that pillar of strength and support. As we memorialize his last day, which was February 1st, we aren't simply acknowledging the end of a long and successful career, but the legacy that he leaves behind. The impact that he has made on this department and the lives of so many will be felt for years to come. Patrolman Griffith, on behalf of the department, I'd like to thank you for your 26 years of dedicated service to the residents of Aberdeen Township. Please join me in congratulating retired Officer Jeffrey Griffith. On the plaque, this is presented to Patrolman Jeff Griffith in recognition of your 26 years of service with the Aberdeen Township Police Department. Started here as a dispatcher, was a patrolman, firearms instructor, crisis negotiator, supervising firearms instructor, department range master, lead and dare officer, and in his final assignment for many years was our school resource officer. So Jeff, again, thank you so much for your dedicated service to Aberdeen Township.
Patrolman Jeff Griffith has dedicated 26 years of exemplary service to the Township of Batterby, contributing to the safety and well-being of our community with unwavering commitment and professionalism. And whereas Patrolman Griffith started his law enforcement career with the Aberdeen Township Police Department in 1998 following service in the United States Navy, he joined the department as a dispatcher before becoming a sworn officer in 1999. And whereas throughout his distinguished career, Patrolman Griffith has served in multiple roles that greatly contributed to the police department, not only as a police officer, but as a firearms instructor, supervising firearms instructor, range master, and negotiator. And whereas Patrolman Griffith's passion for community outreach and youth education led him to become a DARE and a lead instructor, educating and mentoring young students about the importance of making positive life choices. And whereas in his final assignment, he served as the department's school resource officer, building strong relationships with students, staff, and families in the community. Now therefore, on behalf of the mayor and the council, we do hereby proclaim our deepest gratitude and congratulations to Patrolman Jeff Griffith on his retirement. We extend our heartfelt appreciation for his many years of dedicated service to the township and its residents, and express our most sincere wishes for a healthy and happy retirement.
You have to do the official picture. You can't leave.
Yeah, so come over here and get a picture first.
Chief, step in next to that.
Well, let's do
Back order. And now you can retire.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do a traditional thing here. We're going to do a salute to our great flags. I'm going to ask you all to rise as we salute our flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. We're taking like a Chinese restaurant, I had a little bit from A, a little bit from B, but we're going to get it all done tonight. And usually at the same time we do the pledge, we also do a moment of silence. And traditionally for that, we always think of our men and women in the armed forces who protect us here on our soil and foreign soils to let us meet in forums like this. Well, this particular week, you know I'm pretty emotional. We lost two members of our family. The first being former Deputy Mayor Wilhelmina Jones has left us, and a great individual. I can't think of an event that this gentleman wasn't there protecting all of you residents and citizens, and he headed up CERT for a long time. That's Herb Carabello. So now at this particular point in time, I'm going to allow you to have a moment of silence for yourself or any personal intentions that you have, and then we'll get on with our meeting. Thank you so very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, very good. This is how full that like is. Okay, as the chief said so greatly before, we've had many ceremonies like this when we welcome new recruits, but tonight was special in saying, first part of the meeting saying goodbye to someone and now welcoming two new individuals. And the first one, I'm chuckling already because I think I've only known him since, maybe I better stay over here, about this tall, as he came into T-ball and pitching machine and minor leagues at Mattawan Avenue, Babe Ruth League. So I'm going to ask Alex Zeller to come up with his parents to hold the Bible. Little baseball family situation going on here. Let's all face the audience. And we're going to put the left hand on the Bible. And Mom's going to hold it. Everybody okay? Looking good? In fact, okay. This is the oath of office of allegiance, State of New Jersey, County of Monmouth, Township of Aberdeen. Please repeat after me. I, say your name.
I, Alex Zeller,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the
of
Constitution
the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear
and that I will bear
true faith
true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
of the authority of the people,
and I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of
police officer
for the Township of Aberdeen Police Department
for the Township of the Aberdeen Police Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Okay, oath of office and allegiance, state of New Jersey, county of Monmouth, township of Aberdeen. Please repeat after me. I
I, Anthony Babbitt,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the state of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and this state,
and this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and I will faithfully,
and I will be
impartially,
partially
and justly perform
and justly inform
all the duties
all the duties
of the office of police officer
of the office of police officer
of the Township of Aberdeen
of the Township of Aberdeen
Police Department,
Police Department,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. Got it.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, our police chief. You're very welcome.
I just want to thank everyone again for coming out tonight. It's a very important evening for the Aberdeen Township Police Department. We're finally getting our ranks back up to 43 sworn officers. These 2 officers replaced 2 officers who recently retired, one being Officer Griffith. So I want to thank Mayor, Council, as well as the managers for their support over the last couple of years. Officer Babbitt and Officer Sella, they bring experience to our department. Both of them were Class 1 and Class 2 officers respectively before joining us. Both were residents. Officer Sella graduated right here through Madawan Regional High School. So just want to wish them the best of luck in their careers and continue to be safe. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. At this point, I'd like to turn the meeting over to our manager to explain what the agenda items are.
And say, we'll take a minute if anyone wants to head out. If not, we'll start again. Thanks, Dwayne. Okay,
Really?
we have yeah. Reduction for this evening. Our first ordinance, 3-2025, is the ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. And we have the introduction of ordinance number 4-2025. The municipal cap bank, please, for everyone, for record. Again, this is one of our usual routine ordinances that starts out the budget every year in our process.
Yeah, so the appropriation cap has a separate use than the tax levy cap. New Jersey budgets are broken out into two sections, in cap and out of cap. So the in cap is mostly your operating expenses, salary and wages, operating expense, insurance, aid to organization, plenty of items on this agenda that's in cap. Out of cap is your debt service, your shared service agreements, offsetting appropriation and revenue like grants, grant expenses, stuff along these lines. So when we raise our levy cap for the appropriations cap, we are just raising the ability to increase appropriations that fall in the in-cap category of the budget, which roughly about 70% of the entirety. I want to say if it was like a 24.5 million last year, about like 17 million falls into the in-cap, and then about 7 million out of cap, which is like debt service, and some of those items.
Thanks, Joe. And since we're getting to start the cap bank, again, thank everyone for the budget hearings. We've been going over the budget over the past couple months. I had the manager's budget hearing last week, a week and a half ago. We had one-on-ones with department heads, and then, again, we had our meetings this afternoon. So again, thank you for being able to attend. As I told you all then, I'll tell it again, that the budget is still fluid, that changes are being made. Joe is still working with the auditors to finish up any last-minute forms that need to be completed so we can present the budget, hopefully during the month of March, and then it starts the process of it's going down to Trenton and getting its review. So this is the start off for that. Ordinance number 4 is the cannabis, allowing cannabis retail facilities in Aberdeen. Again, if you all remember, a few years ago, we did pass a cannabis ordinance allowing 4 out of the 5, or no, 5, excuse me, 5 out of the 6 licenses in Aberdeen. That was a cultivating license, manufacturer's license, a wholesaler, distributor, and delivery license. We did not approve retail at the time. I think we wanted to see how this was all going to play out, even though there was a 70% or 70.6 something percent approval of Aberdeen residents that wanted to see recreational cannabis legalized or brought to Aberdeen. But we wanted to sit back. We all agreed that we sit back and just see how everything was working. And we have gone to other towns. We have met with other towns. We have started to see the process. Businesses have come to us. Residents have come to us about the retail. So tonight, myself and working with our township attorney and our planner, we come to you with a proper restrictive ordinance that will work for the township. And I'm going to ask Joe Dakotas, our township attorney, just to go over a couple of the key points here so everyone understands what we're looking at and what's coming to the township.
Yes, so what we're amending tonight is the 2 zones. It's highway commercial and
The highway commercial and the, what's the other zone? The regional commercial that would allow the retail use for cannabis to be a permitted conditional use. So long as they reach all these conditions that we lay out here in the ordinance, and they have a license that would be given to them by the Cannabis Regulatory Committee, they'd be permitted to operate within those zones. So that's essentially that. If the mayor and council have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I had a question. So it's limited to 1 in each zone?
Yes, I apologize. Yeah, it's 1 in each zone. The legislation that was produced, they allow you to put in a cap on the amount that the township would like to see in the community, and so there's not an influx and flooding. What we propose right now is a 1 license for retail and highway commercial, and 1 in the regional commercial.
Okay, that's functionally, regional is Route 35 and highway is Route 34?
I believe so, yes. Yeah, that's what the planner had outlaid, yes.
Yeah, that's what the zones are?
Yeah, that's what the zones are, correct.
Okay. Well, that seems fair to me.
So, council, if you have no other questions on those, I'll just also bring up for the...
I actually have one other question, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Do we have the tax parameters in place for this? So like, that's the principal reason
Yeah, in the
that I
ordinance,
see to do it. I mean, there's one across the highway at 34 in Matawan, so the notion that it's not here is kind of whatever at this point, right? So do we have the tax, like the 2% tax on this
Yeah,
in our
we-
code already, or do we have to do that too?
so in the ordinance, we put in for the highest, we said the highest taxable
Okay.
limit, which right now it's at 2%. Who knows down the line if it changes or not, but, so that allows us to charge the additional 2% sales tax on the receipts of the sales.
Okay.
And I do have just one clarification. If I understand correctly from the ordinance, that we are limiting the number of retail cannabis shops, whether they be recreational and medical or just medical, to a total of 2 in the township borders.
Yes, one in the highway commercial and one in the regional commercial.
Thank you.
Anyone else on that one? Okay, so that'll be, like I said, during the regular meeting, that'll be for introduction. For the March meeting, we're actually working on 2 shared services with the County of Monmouth that I will bring for approvals. One is for the digitizing and archiving, which we will set up with software with the county to digitize all of our papers and archive them, and it'll be actually an easier way of organizing and retrieving for Oprah's and for our own usage. And then at the proper time, they will then be able to be put in for the state for destruction, and the paper copies would then can be destroyed, but everything would then still be digitized and archived. The other approval that our shared service that we're working on with the county is it's with the Department of Public Works, and it's a county mutual assistance program. And basically, that allows us to work with the county for anything from paving, to use their equipment, their trucks, basically everything through their Department of Engineering, which is part of their DPW program. So this is, I actually thought we had this, and then we did meet with the Shared Service Department regarding the digitizing, and they said we were not a part of that. We actually do a bunch of different shared services with the county with tax maps, the flood maps, our community rating system. So this just adds on to a shared service that you, Mayor and Council, started years ago. We'll just finalize this at the March meeting, so we can actually, even though we're using the processes now, it's just making sure the paperwork is properly done. And during the regular part of the meeting, I will have 2 other comments just in my regular report. But if there's no questions on the agenda, then I have nothing else.
Okay. With that said, I'd like to have a motion to go into the regular meeting, please.
Motion to go into regular meeting.
All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
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 Welcome to the regular meeting agenda, Aberdeen Township Council for Thursday, February 20th. This meeting is being held in conformance with the Open Publics Meeting Act. Notice has been given to the newspapers of record, posted in the municipal building, and filed with the township clerk. The next open public meeting of this Township Council will be on Thursday, March 6th at 7:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilman Cannon.
Here.
Councilman Hirsch.
Here.
Councilwoman Kelly.
Here.
Councilman Swindell.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Montone.
Here.
Mayor Tagliarini.
Yes, thank you very much. At this point, we did our moment of silence, we did our salute to the gray flag, and now I'm going to open it up to agenda item number 5, which is the hearing of the citizens on agenda items only, as you can see printed out on these papers. So anyone who'd like to come up and speak about what we're talking about tonight and passing tonight, please, there you go. Welcome, Mr. Bishop.
How you doing?
And your comments are?
Well, Mr. Cannon had asked my first question about the marijuana bill. I believe if the bill might go, like, is that just for the use of the township? Does the schools get any of that? Do we know how that's allocated, or is that kind of to be determined?
That's a really good question. I have to double check exactly how it's able to be allocated, and I'll provide you that answer. I'm sorry, I don't have it off the top of my head right now.
Okay, that's fine.
If I'm wrong, please correct me, Joe, especially. Anything that would come in this calendar year after the budget has been passed goes into a general fund. What would they call that?
All money for the town, tax-wise, has to go into the general fund, so
Yeah.
that's where it will be going no matter what.
So we don't know what to anticipate, so therefore our budget will not include any anticipated revenues that we
Yeah.
don't have in our.
Yeah, because there's no stores that's ready to open, right?
Right.
You're just allowing the opportunity.
Just allowing them to now talk
Right.
to us more.
Okay. I wanted to ask about the exceeding the tax cap also, and the tax cap banking. So just to see if I understand this correctly, so raise the municipal levy, right?
At least since 20 for me.
Municipal levy 7.65%.
I believe we used a cap bank every year.
To raise the budget over the 2% cap?
I'd have to go back and check, but I believe so, yeah. I mean, Joe, you can answer.
I think there may be a little bit of confusion. So the item on this ordinance that you're looking at is not the tax levy cap. That is entirely separate. There's two cap banks. So there's the tax levy cap bank, which would be the amount you raise that you're referencing.
Okay.
The one you're seeing on today is just the appropriations cap, which is the expenditure side. Only for items inside the cap. New Jersey, I think we're actually the only one of all 50 states that operates this way. We're not going to be modified. Well, it's a lot of different rules, but one of the rules is there's in-cap and out-cap. And in-cap is, certain criteria, and then certain criteria is out-cap. So all this is allowing us to increase the appropriations and what we budget on the items inside the cap, instead of 2.5%, up to 3.5%. I think all those, the question that you're referencing now is the tax levy cap bank, which would be more for when the budget gets introduced and, am I right? Is that what you're talking about?
Maybe, I didn't realize that there's two different types of cap banks, so maybe I'm confused here, so.
7.65% on the levy, that's all the tax levy bank.
Okay, so increasing this to the 3.5%, that's not gonna raise the
Absolutely
levy.
nothing to do with your tax rate. Like,
Okay.
think about it, if you raise your in cap by 3.5%, but you raise your out cap by 20%, your tax rate is gonna go up huge, Or if you left your in cap at 0, it doesn't, but your out cap goes up, then you're still gonna go up, you know what I mean? It's no impact on your tax rate, this one on today's agenda.
This one, okay. All right, then maybe I was confused on that one. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you so much. Anyone else have any questions about tonight's agenda? What we'll be acting on? Okay, not seeing anyone else coming up, we'll go to agenda item number 6, which reports. Does any member of the council have any reports they'd like to give of the past couple of weeks? No? Anything?
I guess first I wanted to give my condolences to the Rogers family, who I attended Kim Rogers' funeral on Friday, and so did a lot of people. I found out that she's related to like half the town, pretty much, when they went through the roster at church. It was very nice. It was a nice ceremony, and I just wish them the best. She was like the center of their family, so I hope they all are okay going forward. On a brighter note, we had the budget hearing just before. Most of us have been here all day, going through the budget with the department heads in our budget hearing earlier. And it looks like everyone's doing a great job. We're proud to announce that we're going to expand the summer camp to 175 kids. Last year, a lot of kids got shut out. Parents rely on that for childcare. And just generally, it's a great camp for the kids, and to expand it to, more people. It was only open to 75 children last year. This year, it will be open to 175 children. We went, and we didn't pick 175 at random. Basically, you can add to that in increments of 55 kids, more or less. I'm sorry, maybe we're taking 185. Or maybe it was open to 65. Whatever it is, it's 175 this year. We can only add per bus, because that's really the limiting factor. So to have a bus holds 55 kids, and so that's basically the multiple you go in. So above 175 is 230 kids in the summer camp, and 230 is more than any requests we received last year. The greatest week that we received last year, because you can pick up to 6 weeks, was 216 requests. Last year it was for 75 spots. This year that would be for 175 spots. Other weeks actually had requested less than 175, so we can probably accommodate everyone who wants to go during those weeks. We did have
I
to...
just want to add to that, we took it to the maximum for the building that we're using for
Yes.
the fire code.
Well, that's the other limiting factor,
We
too.
took as many kids, including staff, as we could to put into the building.
Yes, without having to find another building. So
Right.
those are the limiting factors on the summer camp. That will pretty much accommodate almost everyone who wanted to go last year, who some did, some didn't, for I think 3 of the 6 weeks. And then the other 3, if we get the same amount of requests as last year, there will be a lottery system for those weeks as individual weeks, so they'll draw numbers. So that's spectacular news, because I know that a lot of parents had to scramble to find alternate options last year, and so that was one of the best parts of the budget. We'll have to increase the fees a little bit to make the budget even out on that. That was something else we learned as part of that, but it's still a very reasonable fee, and we will be offering scholarships for any families in need, which will be sponsored. We'll go out and get some of those sponsored to make sure that every kid gets to go, regardless of whether they can pay the fee or not. As also in the budget, I don't want to take everyone's thunder. If someone else has something they want to talk about for the budget, that was the most exciting thing for me. There was obviously dozens of items talked about in the individual budget, but that I thought was the most publicly important one in the near future. So thanks for obliging me.
Thank you, Councilman. Anyone else with any reports? I'll ask the chief real quickly.
Chief, do you have anything?
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Russell?
Okay, just 2 more things. Do you have anything to say? Because I'm going to say something that maybe I want to say.
I have nothing to say.
Okay. So tomorrow, the mayor, myself, and some of the council members, we will be going to Pickleball HQ on Route 35 for their grand opening at 11 a.m. That's been a big, I guess, commercial business that we were trying to work with to get them here. I know they had to work very hard with their landlord, but they able to open up. They've been open, I think, since early February or a little end of January with a soft opening, but we will be meeting with them tomorrow to do the grand opening. So it's at 11 on Route 35 if anyone would like to join. I know they're already gone already, and I know they weren't going to wait if I brought this up then, but I do want to thank the police department, DPW and OEM, most recently for the windstorm on Sunday, but with the past couple snowstorms, and I know today we were out salting and brining before just in case with the storm or partial little storm that was coming this evening. I'm happy with what's out there because last week it was 17 inches going to hit Monmouth County, so this is okay. But the windstorm on Sunday night had us up pretty late. I was up with the chief most of the night and his dispatch, just getting the reports of down trees, down power lines, and where he had all his resources at. And of course, getting DPW activated if they had to take to get trees out of the roadways if they were not entangled in the wires. So I want to thank everybody for the past 2 months. Really, we've been one after another with some kind of storm, either from the snow or wind, and that windstorm was pretty vicious on Sunday. Again, and my staff, administration-wise, Eric especially, with the calls and emails back and forth with JCP&L, just trying to get some kind of clarification of when the trucks were going to be in town and if they were here and what the ETAs to get power back on. Some was a little bit longer, some were able to get back on within a couple hours. So again, from our emergency services and first responders to admin. I want to thank everybody because it was all hands on deck on Sunday. The calls, and of course, my phone calls and texting everybody at different hours of the night was, I think, enough for all of you to take. So I appreciate everybody making sure that we were trying to get the town back up as fast as possible. So I thank everybody for that. And again, you already heard my shared services for the March meeting. So rather than that, Mayor, then I have nothing else.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm sorry. We will need a short executive session.
Okay, very good. Any action? No.
No action.
No action, exactly. Very good. Now I'd like to entertain a motion for number 7, please.
Yes, to our distinguished Mayor Taglerini and our incredible Deputy Mayor Montona, and my fellow council members, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes from workshop, the regular meeting, February 6, 2025.
Second.
Second.
Councilman Cannon.
Yes.
Councilman Hirsch.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kelly.
Here.
Councilman Swindell.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Montone.
Yes.
Mayor Tagliarini.
Yes, thank you very much. Take a motion on number 8, please.
Yes, Mayor and fellow council members, I'd like to make a motion to introduce ordinance number 4-2025 on first reading by title, and to order the same to be published by summary in the February 26, 2025 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title, and that it will be further considered for final passage after public hearing at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on March 6, 2025 at 7:30 p.m.
Second.
This is for ordinance.
That was 8B.
That was 8B.
2025?
Yeah, it's okay.
Right?
It's okay.
No, this is 3-2-25.
No, this is for.
She just wants to know which one it was.
You're 8A.
Yeah.
He skipped 8. It's good.
Oh, did I jump somebody? I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Wasn't my
That's
turn.
okay.
It's okay.
There's no consent agenda. You guys threw me off.
It's okay.
So you're voting on 4-2025.
This is 4-2025, an ordinance of the Township of Aberdeen amending and supplementing Chapter 25 of the Township Code to permit one licensed cannabis retail facility as a permitted conditional use in the regional commercial and one licensed cannabis retail facility as permitted conditional use in the highway commercial zoning districts, and amending other sections of the chapter consistent therewith. Councilman Cannon.
Yes.
Councilman Hirsch.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Councilman Swindell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Montone.
Yes.
Mayor Tagliarini.
Yes, very much so. Now I'll take a motion on 8A, please.
To the mayor, deputy mayor, and my fellow council members, I'd like to make a motion to introduce ordinance number 3-2025 on first reading by title, and to order the same to be published by summary in the February 26, 2025 issue of the Asbury Park Press, together with notice of its introduction and passage on first reading by title, and that it will be further considered for final passage after public hearing and a meeting of the Township Council to be held on March 6, 2025 at 7:30 p.m.
Second.
Calendar year 2025 model ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. Councilman Cannon.
Yes.
Councilman Hirsch.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Councilman Swindell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Montone.
Yes.
Mayor Tagliarini.
Yes, thank you very much. That brings us up to number 9, which is the hearing of the citizens. New petitions, whatever's on your mind, please come up to the microphone if you have any questions for us.
Long time no see.
Long time, Mr. Bishop, go ahead.
Has anybody looked into, or has there any progress been made on the releasing of the executive session minutes that no longer require confidentiality, or making those public at least?
Yeah, we're in the process of actually going through those right now, and making sure and redacting what's still confidential, what's not, and should be released fairly shortly, right?
Okay. Is that something that in the future would be handled by that shared service agreement that you were referring to
No.
before? No?
No.
Okay. The other thing I just wanted to bring up is, obviously, the recent windstorm created power issues across the state. But Aberdeen did have the worst outages in the county during the storm, and it's my understanding that Aberdeen has the second worst reliability rating in the county in general. Obviously, this is no fault of the council. But I was trying to look into some solutions for the residents who are experiencing frequent outages. And I did come across two options. One is for several hundred residents to file complaints with the Board of Public Utilities. And the second is a request from the Township Council to JCP&L to do an infrastructure reliability assessment and escalate to the BPU if they don't cooperate. Being as option 2 seems to be the easiest and the most effective, if any of you have some time that you can make some phone calls or send those emails, I'm sure that the 24% of residents who experience the frequent outages would greatly appreciate that.
That's been ongoing, Mr. Bishop, for years. Meetings with JCP&L. For example, at one point where we had 700 outages, whatever part of the day it was, that was the result of one pole that took out 500 homes.
Wow.
Yeah, so just,
I think it was something similar with this storm. It was like one transformer I kept hearing by
We only
Lloyd
had-
Road.
Our highest outage on Sunday was 714. We actually were not the worst.
Oh, really?
Howell was actually the worst, and I believe Ocean was also followed up there with over 10,000.
Okay,
So
maybe
we
the
were
article that
actually
I
pretty
read
good.
was-
And I said, when it comes to outages, I follow that like I'm watching television, and
Okay.
I live for my TV. So, yeah, we weren't actually the worst, but the problem is that JCP&L only has, a certain amount of crews that they can put out, and they have to focus everywhere. And again, they look at what they actually can turn back on with where they put their resources. So if they can re-energize 5,000 homes first, they're gonna do that first before they come. We actually had more spotted outages of like 20 plus. I think our worst at the time was the Lloyd Road issue. That was the most I think we had, and they had crews here as soon as possible. I know the chief was actually out talking to their supervisors, and then we had it was another outage on the Line Road, which was Homedale's problem, but because we're so close, it was on that grid that it took out that section of the Big Eye, I believe, part of the Big Eye and Line Road section. But that was actually turned back on earlier. I can't say within hours, but it was earlier than some other areas. But the problem is that, again, the county's so wide that they can only put so many trucks into certain areas. But between myself and Eric, getting the reports back and forth, I think we were actually turned back on pretty quick for this storm. There's other storms that but I guess it's really more the whole county. We were out for days, and that was more towards tropical storms or Sandy, of course. At least one tropical storm with me here. But I mean, yeah, we have JCP&L rep in here all the time, and we've walked with them. We've gone over. I mean, the Strathmore section is probably one of the worst areas, and they've come in and they've done their surveys, and they try to do their best. I'm not going to say that they're great. I mean, I have them where I live too, and as soon as the wind starts to blow, I keep my fingers crossed that I'm not going to lose my power. And I think I do that for even when I'm here. I'm like, oh, please, come on. Just waiting for a branch to come down. So it's. I think for everybody up here, I think I can say this. I think we're all frustrated with JCP&L because it's not the first time that we have to deal with this. It's whenever, and especially once the hurricane season comes and those heavier storms or thunderstorms come through. We're all, cringing, but trying to work with them to say, what can you guys do? What can you change? And they have come in, they've cut more trees down because, again, a lot of the transformers are in people's backyards in the Strathmore section. So, we're trying to get them to come back and, trim trees down. We have actually done it ourselves to try to remedy some of the situations. This early fall, I guess it was, Dwayne, we had crews out here that we've been using now, our own, instead of using the state contract vendors because, again, everyone can use a state contract vendor, so, okay, I'll just go get our own tree people and try to help out because, we can only take so much from what JCP&L. But again, it's not like we're not trying to talk to them and they're not here, but.
No, I believe that you are, and, obviously a response in the middle of a storm, it's going to be prioritized. I guess what I was trying to suggest is maybe when there's not a storm to see if they could proactively do one of these infrastructure assessments, which sounds like maybe you said that they've done. And just say, because it does seem like there's certain areas in town that are affected by frequent outages. Like, I can tell you, on Center Street, my power flickered maybe once in the last 5 years. It never goes out. You know, so I don't understand why other parts of town, it's all the time.
It's very simple. I actually had this conversation with Frank Luna, our rep with JCP&L several years ago. The biggest issue that we face here in Aberdeen is our power system is above ground. Okay? There is nothing that JCP&L can do. There's nothing that Aberdeen Township or any other municipality can do to control how the weather affects the outside lines, wind, ice, etc. We've all lived through it. We've all seen it here in town multiple times. The only true way to fix it is to move the grid underground. The cost to do that?
Tremendous, Mr.
We would probably need to, they would, not we, JCP&L, according to what the numbers I was given, would probably need to raise your electrical rates 12 to 15 times every year for the next 10 years in order to pay for it.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so we're really faced with a situation where we have above-ground wires and weather. And JCP&L can't control the weather, unfortunately, and they can't control how the weather's going to affect the outside line. The other problem is, they don't just have enough crews. Okay?
What was that? They don't have enough crews?
They don't have enough crews to handle when there's a large windstorm or ice storm that affects a good part of the state. They don't have enough personnel. They don't have enough equipment to get out there.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of times after these large storms, you see multiple states coming in with utility companies. They're all coming in. The JCP&L is asking everyone to please come in and help us.
Yeah.
If your area is safe.
Well, that's why, like, even my power lines are above ground, and, like, I don't have these issues, so it just seems crazy that there's certain parts that just are so unreliable, that maybe there's some way that they could look into that.
Okay, on my street, 2 doors down, there's a transformer. I would say, on an average, up until 7, 8 years ago, on average, the power would go out on my street 2 to 3 times a month, sometimes more often.
Wow.
Because a squirrel got into the transformer and shorted it out.
Wow.
So it took, I'm here 38 years. I would say it took close to 30 years of complaining for JCP&L to finally put a box around the transformer to guard it, to keep the squirrels out.
All right. Well, you know.
I'm not trying to make fun
Maybe
of
we
it
could
or
just
make
ask
a
them to do
joke.
that a little sooner then. Look, you know, like I said, it's not your fault. I'm
It's
sure that
frustrating.
JCP&L reacts as quick as they
It's
can. I just
frustrating.
know
It's
it's
so
frustrating.
And then the other thing with the high winds, just to wrap it up, they can't go up in the bucket. Frank Luna will tell us.
Oh, no, I
It's
used to do tree work, trust me, I
Yeah,
know.
we just can't send up our workers in the bucket. So, but Artie hit on a lot of great things, and the squirrel story is the best story we ever got from them. Thank you, sir. Your name, please.
My name is Michael LaCourte. I live at 78 Avalon Lane, same section as Mr. Hirsch. And I have the transformers in the back. The homes were built in the 60s, so we're at 60, 65 years. The system is just, and it's unreliable at this point. Can we in any way get underground when we're doing our roads over? Can we put at least a conduit under there so that in the future they can put transformers above ground at street level like they're doing everywhere else? Our system needs to be upgraded in some way. Is there any way that we can put a conduit in the ground to eventually use it in the future?
We can put a conduit in the ground, but I don't believe JCP&L will use it, because they didn't put it in the ground, and they're not going to put it in the ground.
I just,
Believe me, these are questions that we have asked JCP&L. Dwayne Patterson, our Director of DPW, who's here this evening with us, okay, has spoken to them numerous times. Dwayne and I have had multiple conversations over the years regarding getting power underground. It's just unattainable.
on the other side of 34, they all have power underground.
Okay?
So.
On the other side of 34 was built at a different time.
Correct, so is it time for an upgrade? Do we just?
That's a very good question to ask JCP&L. I'm not trying to push you off, and believe me, living in the A section and having dealt with as many power outages as I do is the reason why I have a generator in my garage, okay, to pull out when I need it. But it's very frustrating. The cost to move the power lines underground is so astronomical.
I could imagine.
Okay, it just can't be done at this point, because it's not just the streets in Strathmore or Cliffwood Beach. Okay, it's also the commercial highways where a lot of the lines run. It just becomes too costly to even consider. JCP&L has blatantly said, great idea, but it ain't gonna happen.
Okay, so that brings me back to general maintenance. We have a lot of trees in our backyards where the power lines are. I know that you're working to trim that. Can we have just some crews going out on a regular basis?
It's not our job, right? Dwayne, you want to explain the tree thing?
Well, okay, as far as your easements that are in your backyard,
Yes.
JCP&L as a whole, the clear understanding or the truth is those trees belong to you. At any given time, with my authorization, you can remove the tree from your backyard. JCP&L will only come into your backyard to trim back lines that they feel are endangering their power lines. I've had trees that were completely dead in someone's backyard. And they said in JCP&L easement, they said, well, it's not gonna touch the wires, we're not taking it down. So if you have any issues in your backyard, I'll give you my card at the end.
Please.
Let me know, and we can work it out to, so you can alleviate what's happening in your backyard, and let the other residents know the same thing.
Okay. That's good to know. Thank you all.
You're very welcome, sir. Anyone else like to get up this evening? Good evening.
Good seeing you, sir. Pat Noble, 66 West Concourse. I just want to bring up again the issue of the intersection of Prospect and Amboy Road. I realize that Amboy Road is county, but our Prospect is our local road, and the fence that's been put up there makes it impossible to see around the corner when you're coming up from Route 35 towards Amboy. I wrote to the county, and they sent a really polite letter back, and that's been 4
You gotta
years.
see how polite they are to Brian.
I'm sorry?
You gotta see how polite they are to Brian.
Oh, boy, I'll bet.
See how polite I am back.
But I think that needs to be addressed, and if it could be a code enforcement issue with that fence.
It's actually within.
It's so close to the road.
You know, Pat, that's a 4-foot fence, and I don't know if he's too close to the curb. Have we checked that?
We have reviewed that with code enforcement, and they say that it was approved and within all the proper.
Yeah, I think
all
it's
the
legal.
proper, requirements.
Oh, then we need a traffic light there.
We are still working with the county. They're trying to work with the chief in the back and the traffic department. We have gone out there with them numerous occasions, even after you guys, again, had me call out to them, and they have been out here. They're working on possibly doing some, what do you want to call it?
I would say traffic calming.
Yeah.
We asked about a traffic light and/or a four-way stop, and the county is just, I wouldn't say they've completely nixed it, but they're not in 100% in favor of it. So we are still working with them and trying to come up with a solution. But the hierarchy of that road, even the intersection, so we really can't do much on our end because the hierarchy of the road takes precedence to the county.
Well, somebody's going to get killed there. I'm just telling you.
You're right.
We're very much aware.
Yeah.
We're very much aware, Pat.
I mean, it's one of the worst intersections in the whole.
I agree with you, 100%.
I just encourage you to do what you can and keep on them.
I know, I go past that street 30 years now, and I remember when the fence was a thin fence, and then got fatter, but you know.
Well, it used to be a
it's-
bush there.
We put a lot of stuff there.
Yeah,
There's a
bush
big
was worse.
The bush
painted
was
sign
there.
that says stop sign ahead.
Yeah.
There's a sign on the stop sign that says cross traffic does not have a stop sign. I mean, they've done a lot of stuff. It's just, it's a terrible corner.
The other thing I wanted to ask, Brian, you'd mentioned the review for archiving. I was wondering, is there any review of these documents for historical value so that they're not all destroyed? Or are some going to be?
The stuff that we're going through, it's, because everything has to be approved by the state. These are financial records, these are personnel, it's nothing like, it's not historical like that.
No historical value? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else have anything to add to our meeting tonight?
Can I say, maybe have a little unorthodox suggestion there? If we were able to find $12,000 to reprint the calendars this year, would it be that difficult to maybe go to that homeowner and offer to cover the cost of putting a different style of fence up there that wouldn't be so hard to see?
Yes. I'm looking out to my people. Has that ever been broached at all?
Well, just to let you know, when we redesigned Prospect Avenue, when we just repaved it, that front wall, as well as the bush was removed, and it was pushed back to meet the regulator standards for clearance. Now, you've only got one car, clearance, when you pull up to that stop at Prospect and Amboy, where you can see. Now, what we're seeing is that, okay, you make it through, you go through, I'm behind you. Now, I'm making an assumption that it's clear, so I'm following right behind you. They're not stopped, you have to stop, it's a one-car stop.
So I go there a lot too, so I know what the problem is. With those vertical vinyl pieces, it lines up just perfectly that it's like a solid wall, you can't see past it. If there was some sort of horizontal pieces or a glass panel or something like that, I'm sure that it would only be a couple $1,000s to replace that, and maybe that's something that the township could even, entertain covering, say, hey, look, we know that the fence was legal, but we'd really appreciate if you would let us take care of this for you, for the community, and then problem solved. Just an idea, a little unorthodox, but.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we're not seeing anyone else come up. I'll ask our attorney for the executive session motion.
Whereas the Open Public Meeting Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas the governing body wishes to discuss contractual matters, minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires that confidentiality, then the minutes can be made public. Now therefore be it resolved that the public be excluded from this meeting. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Anyone second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, we are adjourned to executive. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Has it stopped snowing? Does anybody know? No, it's still going. I think we got that 17.
That ride's home.